All right, welcome to a special episode of the All American Hoops podcast. I'm Chris Driscoll. It is currently Tuesday, just after 1 p.m., which is a very, very different time from our regular time slot. We usually go Thursdays at 8. Past couple weeks, I have been a little off with the scheduling. Obviously, the couple weeks ago was Game 6 of the NBA Finals, so I pushed it back a couple hours, and then we did a regular schedule time last week. But then this week, I'll actually be at the Mets game this Thursday, so didn't make sense to record then. And also, I'm busy tomorrow as well. So okay, busy this afternoon and also tomorrow as well. So this was really the only time I could squeeze in a time to do a pod this week, but I'm very happy I did. Actually, not so happy given that like most people work during the day, but I'm a teacher, so I don't. But I am happy given that it's just that we're fresh into the free agency markets, fresh into some big news happening, and I'm very, very happy that we're able to dive into it right now. So anyway, this is episode 85, so we're really counting down to that episode 100. It is the episode of Baron Davis, who played for the Cavs in 2011 and the Knicks in 2012. Both those teams were like not great at the time. I don't remember if I think the Knicks were good in 13-14, but like before that, not so great. But he is a two-time All-Star, so he's far from irrelevant. But when he was wearing 85, he was playing for some irrelevant teams. It is also the episode of Antonio Gates and George Kittle, two of probably the 10 best tight ends of all time. So I definitely think that for George Kittle as far as goes for like the blocking position, but Antonio Gates is definitely one of the best receiving tight ends of all time. So yeah, that's it for episode 85. 86 is gonna be a fun one next week. But yeah, so the biggest news of the day is obviously free agency started yesterday. We're all very excited for that. But the biggest news of the day is the fact that Damian, a superstar, maybe not superstar anymore, but definitely like star. He made the All-Star game last year. Damian Lillard was cut by the Bucks. He wasn't just cut altogether. He was stretched and waived, which I know some people were a little confused as to what that meant, but like it's pretty much what it sounds like. So what happens is they rather than paying him $58 million this year and then like over 60 next year, they're going to stretch out that contract. So they're still paying him the money, but they're doing it in smaller amounts over a longer period of time. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a it's a pretty hefty amount to get him to not play basketball. I'm looking up right now from Keith Smith, who's very into the numbers. So the Bucks will be paying Dame for 5 years, 22.5 every single year. So essentially for the next 5 years, they were paying Damian Lillard $22.5 million to not play basketball for them, which is insane. Why did they do this? They did this because the Bucks felt desperate. They're a very weakly talented team. They have Giannis, and then after that, the second most talented player is probably Kyle Kuzma. They did re-sign Gary Trent and Kevin Porter Jr. yesterday, so I don't know when they made this decision. Maybe they made it a couple weeks ago, but like I'm talking about like as far as it goes for like which players that they had up until they decided, or not that they decided, up until like this happened. But they signed Miles Turner to a 4 years, 90 million or something like that. I could be dead wrong. Yeah, like you realize I'll definitely be fact checking myself for a little bit because obviously it's a lot of news. I did write some of it down, but yeah, Miles Turner was signed by 4 years, 107, so more. But I don't like this move at all, honestly. I understand that 58 million is a lot for Dame not to play this year, but you're mortgaging your future. You're mortgaging 22 million on the books for the next 3 years. I know the cap salary is probably going to go up after next year, probably even after this year even. But that being said, $22 million is going to be a lot. It's still going to eat up a lot of your cap space. So I feel like they definitely should have just 8 this year, maybe like in a way tanked, which like I understand is like kind of tough to. It's kind of like a tough way of holding on to your superstar in Giannis. But that being said, I do think that he understood what was going on, which I'll talk about Giannis in a second. But at the end of the day, you're paying $48 million for at least the next 4 years, and then the next, and then like the year after that, which is contributed on. But $48 million for the next 4 years for Miles Turner. Miles Turner is a very, very good player. He's a very good great stretch five. He played really well in the playoffs. He played great against the Knicks. He played pretty well against the Cavs as well, but didn't play great in the finals. And yeah, he's going to be easily the second most talented player in the Bucks, and the second best player as well. Like I think there's a difference between talent and who's the better and who's like better. I think like I can go into that another day. But yeah, Miles Turner is the clear most talented and also the clear second best player. That being said, this isn't worth it at all. I understand. Yeah, like I said, like I understand Damian Lillard. He's older now and he's not as great. So paying him $58 million, I'm pretty sure. What was he going to be paid this year? May not sound worth it, and it probably isn't at the end of the day. But it's the better option than what they decided to do, and that's not only is stretching him out over 22 million for the next 5 years not really feasible. It also just doesn't make sense to me. It also just isn't good from a human element as well. Like, it's just like it doesn't really sit well with a lot of people in the organization. If you are what's the word I'm trying to describe? Like, it doesn't really sit well with people that like Dame is at the lowest of his lows, like emotionally and from like a basketball standpoint. And I understand it's a business at the end of the day. So like you want to like sell guys when they're low, but just cutting him altogether, he is not going to play basketball next year. I doubt any team is going to sign him immediately. I could be dead wrong actually, but yeah, because who knows what teams will do. But Dame was clearly on the decline. He was not great in 2023. He was he was phenomenal in 2023. He was not great in 2024. He was very, very good in 2025 once before the injury, and then he tore his Achilles. And the Bucks just decided to cut him. I just don't support this move from a basketball standpoint and from a human standpoint as well. Like, I'm not one to bash organizations for doing what's best for their organization at the end of the day. Like, yeah, like I do support teams trading players even if they love the franchise. This just felt a little scummy. And I, for one, would not have made this move. And from a personal standpoint, but like even from a basketball standpoint, looking at it objectively, it makes zero sense to me to spend $48 million on Miles Turner. Again, very good player who has never been an all-star though. So yeah, I don't agree. Yeah, I don't agree with this move at all. But who knows what's next for the Bucks and who's okay. Oh yeah. Like moving on to Giannis. So so Chris Haynes, who's like buddies with Dame. So I'm taking this report with a grain of salt. I don't know. Chris Haynes is a credible reporter. Like I'm not saying otherwise, but I'm taking this report with a grain of salt because like so obviously he's probably livid at the fact that he just got stretched and waived. I don't even know if it's stretch and wave or stretched and or stretch. I don't know if it's ED at the end, but yeah, he's probably livid. So yeah, he's probably talking to Chris Haynes about it because that's his go-to guy. But yeah, and then Chris Haynes reported that Giannis is upset with how it was handled. So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it is or isn't true, but if I were Giannis, I probably would be upset. I'm saying like, listen, like I understand that we're not going to be great this year, but this isn't going to make our team great this year. It's going to make our team better this year. Like I'd obviously rather have Miles Turner than like no Dame and like no other help on the roster. But after this, you can make the argument that 2020, next year's 2020. So in the 2027 season, you can make the argument that Dame is going to be better than Miles Turner at that point. So this is really the only year that it benefits the Bucks. So unless you want to say that Dame's injury is really going to be so bad that Turner's going to be better in 2027, okay. Is he still worth $48 million in 2028, 2029, and 2030? I have a very hard time believing that. What is Turner? Yeah, again, I'm fact checking myself right now. Okay, this is where having a co-host would be good. So Miles Turner is, is he probably 32? I'm going to say. It was 29. Okay, that's actually not that bad. But yeah, he's 29 years old. And yeah, they'd be paying him $48 million at 34 years old. Feels like a lot. And I don't know. Again, Miles Turner, good player. Not a great player and not worth $48 million, which would be probably in the top 20, top 25 players paid in the league. I'm currently working on my top 100. I don't think I have him too high. Like I maybe have him in the top 75 maybe, but so I don't know. This deal just isn't it for me. And I don't support it at all. But a lot of other moves went down and I'm very excited to talk about those. And yes, I will be checking my phone as the time goes on. just to obviously keep up with the news because there's a good chance the signing is going to happen while I'm here. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on here for, but we'll see. Okay, so I would say probably I don't even know what the second biggest news of the day was. Not of the day, but of since 6 o'clock yesterday. Which, by the way, I thought that free agency started at 6:30. By the way, but it started at 6. So I remember people were freaking out at 6 o'clock. I was like, guys, because not many moves were made. But yeah. So anyway, I think probably the biggest move I think would probably be the trade that happened between the Denver Nuggets and the Brooklyn Nets. So Nuggets traded one of their franchise players, Michael Porter Jr., and a first round pick in 2030 for Cameron Johnson. I really, really like this moves on both sides. But let me explain. But I do like the move more for the Nuggets, though. I think that Cam Johnson fits perfectly what the Nuggets need. Nikola Jokic isn't a good defender, and Jamal Murray is okay, not great. So when those are your two franchise players, like the two guys you rely on in the playoffs every year, you need other great perimeter defenders. So like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown, which I'll get back to in a second as well. Those were like, and Aaron Gordon, of course. Those were like great players for playing that perimeter defense. That was great for them when in their finals run. Then KCP left. Then no, sorry, first Bruce Arnold, then KCP left with Michael Porter Jr., who's not a good defender at all, and Christian Brown, who played pretty well this year, but he's not the ideal perimeter defender when you have pretty weak rim defense, even when Jokic is on the bench in DeAndre Jordan. The Nuggets have been pressing every right button. I would say they're like one of the top 5, maybe even top 3 winners of the offseason so far. So Cameron Johnson is the perfect glue guy. I feel like that him and Aaron Gordon are going to be awesome together. They can switch on and off who's guarding the best wing defender on the team. Like if they're playing the Rockets, one of those two guys is going to be guarding Kevin Durant. If they play the Lakers, one of those two guys is going to be guarding LeBron. The other one's probably going to end up guarding Luka, honestly, as well. And just like any long wing, one of them's going to be guarding Kawhi in a playoff run. This is great for the Nuggets, and great for Jokic as well. They are building a very good foundation for him. Murray wasn't great last year. Both Porter and Gordon had their injury issues, so they looked like a bad team in the beginning of the year, but they really picked it up and ended up pushing the Denver Nuggets to 7 games. Sorry, ended up pushing the Thunder to 7 games in the second round, and I think they were the second best team in the West at the end of the day, in my opinion. So shout out to the Nuggets. They are doing everything right, in my opinion. They're doing the opposite of what the Bucks need to be doing, and that's maximizing Jokic's potential by signing players who address his weaknesses and just pressing all the buttons right. They also signed Bruce Brown back, who hasn't been good the past couple of years, but I think he's become underrated. He was traded to the he was on the Pacers in the beginning of the year. They traded him for Siakam, which again, this was the perfect move for the Pacers. And then they ended up, and then Bruce Brown served the rest of his contract, and now he's back. Now he's back home, and I think that he's going to be really good for the Nuggets. He's probably going to be the 6th man, is what I'm thinking. I think that Christian Brown is probably still going to get that starting spot at the 2 guard. But overall, this was definitely a great offseason for the Nuggets, because I'm not even done. They also this morning I didn't even know that happened until I was checking my notifications this morning. Not even this morning, just like 20 minutes ago, I was checking. Okay, who signed with who? I was like scrolling through all my notifications from Shams. I was like, oh, the Nuggets also traded Dario Saric for Jonas Valanciunas. Dario Saric, God bless him, but he's not a good player. And Jonas Valanciunas, they're relatively washed up. He's the perfect backup center to Jokic. He's not a good defender. He's a fine defender though. But he's someone who can stretch the floor. He's a really good shooter. He's a fine passer. So at this, yeah, I think he was very underrated. Like leading up, like the past couple years before this. This year he became a little overrated because of what he was before. And yeah, he's not great anymore, but he was on the Wizards last year, and this year he was on the Wizards and the Kings, so like he really didn't have a home. And now he's going to be with the Nuggets, which I'm really happy for him. I've always been a fan of. We actually talked about him on NBA Max the other day, and yeah, Fluent's a big fan of him, but and I'm a fan of him as well. I'm not a fan of him to be a starter on a good team anymore, but I'm a huge fan of him to be a backup on a good team. So especially with Jokic, he hasn't really had a good backup center since Mason Plumlee because DeAndre Jordan isn't really great. I shouldn't say great; it's not really good at all. But he was fine for Jokic. And then Darius Saric didn't really get a lot of playing time either. So Jonas Valanciunas, I don't know if he's as good as Mason Plumlee was, but he's definitely the perfect fit for Jokic now, and I'm very happy that Jokic finally is a backup center, and hopefully that's crazy on-off switch to where like the Nuggets are like 20 points better with Jokic on the floor than off the floor. What is it, like a -8 probably with them off, and then plus 12 with them on. Hopefully it's still plus 12 with them on, and then like hopefully like a -2 with them off. So like yeah, just like small things like that. Like it's moves on the margins. Like Jonas Valanciunas isn't he's not a great player, but like he like improves the roster. Same thing with I think the Cam Johnson is a very under role player, but like just replacing him. These are moves that are big deals, but they're not necessarily big on them. They're not necessarily like big, like signing like LeBron James or even like as big as like cutting Damian Lillard. These are small moves on the margins that are going to make them so much better. I thought that's. Oh, I'll talk about the Rockets in a second, but I think the Nuggets are the second best team in the West now, mainly because of Jokic, but also because he has a solid supporting cast now. The cast wasn't horrible last year as was in the beginning. They got much better. It's better than it was the end of last year, and I think the Nuggets are going to be competing with the Thunder again, and it'll be harder for them because the Nuggets actually have some great perimeter defense now, and I'm very excited to watch them play. Yeah, so those were the two. Okay, oh yeah, then I'll talk about the Nets actually because yeah, like I'm not just going to talk about one side, but I'm a fan of this for the Nets as well. Michael Cam Johnson really didn't fit their timeline. Again, he's a very good role player, but what's he going to do in the Nets as the second best player probably? Every time I get a notification, I check my phone. But at the end of the day, he is probably he's not going to be like a second best player on a really good team, and he's the second best player on a very bad team. You can even say I don't even know if you could say second or third, depending on how you rank Nick Claxton and Cam Thomas, but definitely the second best scorer probably. But yeah, so he didn't really fit their timeline. So okay, might as well. And I for one thought they could have gotten more for him, so maybe like that's where you consider them a loser. But they got Michael Porter Jr., who's a pretty solid player. I do believe he was making more than the Nuggets. So like, sorry, then Johnson. So that does fill up their cap room. They did need to spend like I don't know if they were past the minimum or not. So like that they did need to do that. And then they also got a first round pick as well in 2030. Which who knows when the Nuggets are going to be in 2030? Jokic is going to be older. He just turned 30, so he'll be like 34 at that point. Which doesn't really rely on his athleticism a ton to like be great. So I don't know how poorly his game is going to age, but however he's extremely strong with like backing down players. So I don't know how good he'll be at that at the age of 34, but I could only imagine that there'll still be pretty solid team. Okay. Yeah, so I give this an A plus move for the Nuggets, and let's give it a B for the Nets. So like not bad, like great for the Nuggets and not bad for the Nets. Okay, so so like those are the two big. I would say the next big these next couple moves I would say aren't really necessarily again these aren't big moves but they're like moves that improve the team. So Dorian Finney-Smith to the Rockets is a pretty big deal. I will give that back in a second. But yeah, Dorian Finney-Smith to the Rockets doesn't sound like a big deal, but like again, this is a roster improvement on the margin. So I doubt he's going to start. I think that it's going to be Fred VanVleet, Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, probably. I'm missing someone. Amin Thompson, and probably another two guard. But Dorian Finney-Smith is definitely like a very solid player though, who's going to be great at like who's going to be like great in like certain situations. Like he's going to be someone again who can guard LeBron or Kawhi or I'm trying to think of maybe not Shea in certain spots, but like he'll have no problem guarding the best player on each team, and it's just like someone exactly who the Rockets need. He's someone who is losing my train of thought here real quick, but like yeah, he's someone who has played in pretty important playoff games. Like he played with Luka for a little bit, and when they were going up against Kawhi and the Clippers, he was traded in the Kyrie Irving deal, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, was he traded from? Yes, he was traded from the Nets to the Lakers after that, and the Lakers lost in 5 games. But like that was just an awful situation for Dorian Finney-Smith. So he's gonna be in a good spot now, and I'm excited to watch him play pretty well. So this is going to be this is a win for the Rockets, and also the Rockets also signed Clint Capella back. So I don't know exactly what they're thinking with that one, and I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad move, but Alperen Şengün is your franchise player. I'd say he was your best player last year. Kevin Durant's gonna be your best player this year, and they're probably hoping that Amin Thompson's gonna take that leap as well. So he'll be the second or third best player. Steven Adams was the perfect backup center last year. I don't know if they're thinking that he's getting older, which he's not even that old. I still think he's in his 20s. They're hoping maybe they're hoping that Clint Capella will just be that veteran presence in the locker room, and also just the veteran presence. Just mentoring Alperen Şengün, even though Şengün is probably better than Capella ever was. I think the Capella was a very good player on the Nuggets. I think that he was like the perfect complementary piece to both James Harden and Chris Paul for those 2 years that he was there. So, I've always been a fan of Capella. He was actually, I remember back when Rob Williams was actually developing. I said, okay, if Rob Williams could turn into Clint Capella, that would be great. And I think that Rob Williams reached a higher ceiling that Capella never reached as far as goes for like defensive player of the year candidate, but Capella obviously played more games, so I'd obviously rather the career of Clint Capella rather than Rob Williams. But like if Rob Williams turned out to be Clint Capella, I would have been happy, but that never happened. And Clint Capella was just solid for a couple years. He was pretty good with Trae Young for those couple years, and he's back home now. So he's going to play in a much smaller role. So, but it was 3 years, 7 million, and 7 million is like pretty cheap, but it's not really that cheap in the second apron era. So yeah, shout out to the Rockets. I like what they're doing, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where they go. I know that some people think that they should have given it a couple more years before buying all in with your young core, but I think they're the second or third best team in the West, in my opinion. I hope that Kevin Durant stays healthy. I still think he's going to play like 60 some odd games. He's going to probably load manage a little more, but I'm rooting for the Rockets. Like the Rockets and the Nuggets are probably my two favorite teams in the West next year, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to do. Or not what they have to do, what they will do. Because the Thunder, the Rockets, the Nuggets. After that, if you want to say the Lakers because of LeBron and Luka, even though the rest of the roster is pretty bad now right now. Maybe probably not the Grizzlies that just traded Bane. What am I missing? The Timberwolves. They signed both Nas and Randall back, so maybe they'll be top 4 team in the West as well. Back-to-back conference finals, so who knows? But yeah, lots of things to be excited about for sure. I am going to stay on for a little bit longer. I don't even know how long, but you know how much I love to ramble on. So I will say though, I am probably just going to go through some of the signings that because I wrote pretty much everything down before signing on, just because maybe I could just spitball exactly what I was thinking for each one. But as I mentioned, I did think that free agency started at 6:30. So like when 6:01 came around and Josh Hart tweeted out, he said something like, "Oh, what happened to the game I love? No one's coming out." I was like, "Wait, I thought free agency started at 6:30," and then I was wrong. And then I saw the Jaren Jackson Jr. extension came in at 6:15. I was like, "Oh, okay, so maybe it's another extension thing." But no, they weren't allowed to extend him actually. But they made that announcement, so good for him. And also good for Santi Aldama. This is where if Matt Driscoll was sitting next to me, he would give a shout out to Santi Aldama for being a Loyola legend. But yeah, Santi Aldama had a very solid season, and Jaren Jackson Jr. was the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year once Wemby went down, but then slipped a little bit. So I do think the second apron is going to screw them over with the Jaren Jackson Jr. contract, but well earned, and the Grizzlies definitely needed to re-sign him there. So, I think that's it for the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies also signed Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome, who was one of the best 6 men of the year last year. Ty Jerome was, I wrote it down somewhere, was 3 years, 28 million. That feels mega cheap in my opinion. I know that he wasn't really the traditional, maybe not traditional, but he wasn't like the, I guess, stealthy 6 man as far as it goes for playing like over like 28 to 30 minutes a game. But that being said, he was super efficient last year. And I just know for a fact this has to do with the second apron, but he should be making more than that, in my opinion. He should be making more than, what is that, $9 million? I could have sworn he was going to make at least 15. So I understand why he's not making a ton, but I feel like he should be making much, much more. But I don't know. He'll be a good backup point guard for Ja. He'll be he was a great contributor to the Cavs last year, and I think he'll be the same thing for the Grizzlies this year. Though I do think the Grizzlies are going to rely on him a little more than the Cavs did. The Cavs didn't. Obviously, the Cavs have like one of the best backcourts in the league in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, and the Grizzlies have what is it, Ja Morant and probably KCP as the second backup, unless they go with Scottie Pippen Jr. But I'm excited to see what Ty Jerome does, even if he's underpaid. I'm excited to see what he does with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies were one of my favorite teams at the beginning of last year because they had Marcus Smart. I still do have a rooting interest in them though. Like I do. Like I rooted for Ja Morant last year with his redemption story, and he just didn't really follow through. He didn't really. He did pretty well behavior wise, but just wasn't as good. So yeah, like I'm rooting for Ja Morant. And I'm a big Jaren Jackson Jr. guy. Forgot who their coach is though. It's not Taylor Jenkins obviously anymore. But who knows what's going to happen with the Grizzlies? I think their ceiling is probably like 5 or 6 seed, maybe, and then their floor is probably playing team. So maybe a little bit higher. No, I think it's higher than 5 or 6, maybe like 3 or 4 seed. Depending on how Ja Morant does. But we'll see what happens though. Who else have we not talked about yet? D'Angelo Russell. This one is interesting to me. The Mavericks are in a spot where they're interesting because if they had Kyrie Irving healthy, they would say, okay, we're going into the season. We have healthy Kyrie, we have healthy AD, and we have healthy Cooper Flag with a couple other pieces, with healthy Klay Thompson, with PJ Washington, with Najee Marshall, a really solid supporting cast. But they don't really have a number one. Unless Cooper Flag turns into that number one, or Anthony Davis all of a sudden becomes like this alpha leader, which he doesn't seem like he is. The Mavs are a super talented team. Again, like they're a team that I forgot to talk about, and they could be one of the top teams. Kyrie Irving is injured. I feel like D'Lo is a good backup point guard there, to like get a lot of buckets, but I don't know if he's a winning player. He openly said last year when he was traded for the Lakers, he's like, oh, I'm happy that I can just do what I want to do now, which we all want to do what we want to do, but I think we're all adults. Like when we're adults at the end of the day, we acknowledge that we can't always get what we want. And D'Lo was playing in a role next to LeBron where he had to play make a little more. And then when he joined the Nets, he was just able to score whenever he wanted to. Which he looked better at the time, mainly just because the Nets had such low expectations. But he's back to a team with relatively high expectations. As far as he's definitely not I don't know. He's definitely not better than AD. I can tell you that. Is he going to be? I think the Cooper Flag is going to be better than him right off the bat, but I don't know. And I don't know who's better than him after that. But once Kyrie comes back, I'm interested to see what he does in his role as probably the sixth man. I don't necessarily know if he's going to be good as a sixth man. I know that traditional sixth men often just like come off the bench and just get buckets. So maybe he'll just be the guy to do that. He'll be just like play like the Lou Williams role. Who knows? But not really sure what the Mavs are, what their vision is for this year. I don't know if they're thinking that Kyrie's going to be back by Christmas or a little bit after that. But keep an eye out for the Mavs. I don't know where they're going to finish, but they're interesting for sure, especially given AD, how he wants to stay there and everything. He has a couple more years left. He'll get paid a lot of money, but the Mavs just traded away their franchise cornerstone piece. Got golds with Cooper Flag. They got super lucky. So now this is their chance to redeem themselves. There's a chance for Nico Harrison to redeem himself. I don't know. I'm not saying that D'Lo was a bad move, but it could come back and bite them in the face for sure. Okay. So the next one is I talked to the Lakers about it. They have a pretty weak supporting cast, and they still do, but they signed, how the hell do you say his name? Jake LaRiva. Is that how you say his name? Jake LaRavia. Jake LaRavia, who played for last year. He played for the Grizzlies and then got traded to the Kings. He played 47 with the Grizzlies and 19 for the Kings. Played 21 minutes per game with the Lakers. Oh no, sorry, with the Grizzlies, and then 20 with the Kings. His best season he was in 2024. So yeah, this will be his fourth season. He scored 11 points per game with 4 rebounds, but shot. Actually, no, that wasn't his best season, honestly. But like, his best season was probably last year, honestly. Now that I say that out loud, because he shot 42.3% from 3. which is, I think, what the Lakers are just essentially doing for him. I don't know how good he is on defense, but I could only imagine that's not that great if he's shooting that great from three and not really playing many minutes. So most of his minutes came from when he was playing at the small forward position. So we'll probably do the same thing there with LeBron playing the four, maybe. He's not going to start actually. So yeah, he'll just play some minutes here and there. I don't know how many minutes he's going to play, but defensively, it looks like he is a slight. It's not really good. There's not really many defensive stats out there. Like about a steal per game with less than half a block per game. So what is that comes out to like slightly one stock per game. Eh. Impact stats, I can look that up right now. But essentially, at the end of the day, I don't know what the Lakers are doing. They do need a center. I do think that DeAndre Ayton will sign with them eventually. And Lakers fans have really talked themselves into DeAndre Ayton being this great player. I don't think that's the case at all. But I don't really know what their thought process is, though. They're going to sign DeAndre Ayton, and then Maxi Kleber is going to be their backup center. So last year he was a -6 off the floor with on the floor with the +1 off the floor. So that's like a -7 net swing. And they were also 6 points worse on defense. They were better on offense, but more worse on defense, which makes sense. Now that I say that out loud. So he's probably not going to be he'll be like at best their 7th or 8th man. But that's actually the worst case scenario for the Lakers if he's getting that many minutes. But yeah, he's only getting paid $6 million this year. So who knows what happens there? I know that some Lakers fans are trying to talk themselves into doing like a side-end trade for Andrew Wiggins, or like the Heat signing someone and then trading for Andrew Wiggins, which would be good for them. But at the end of the day, yeah, obviously Luka is their primary point guard. Reeves is their 2 guard. LeBron's their 3 or 4. I guess Rui's probably their 4th starter, and then their 5th starter as of now is Maxi Kleber. It's going to probably end up being DeAndre Ayton, but who knows what's going to happen there? I'm not very high on the Lakers at all. Obviously, you can't count out the combo of LeBron and Luka, but I think you can count out Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic being a competent backcourt defensive duo. I think that's a horrendous backcourt defensive duo. That's one of the best offensive in the league. But if you want to win a championship, you can't have those 2 guys as your main perimeter defenders. We saw what happened with the Mavs in 2024. They got completely exposed by the Celtics. So, and I don't think that DeAndre Ayton is a really good center either. So the best defender on that floor is LeBron James, which LeBron's a good defender, but he's 40. Probably gonna be 40. I think he's gonna be 41 in December. So yeah, I'm not betting on the Lakers next year for sure, unless they make some serious changes. Got a couple more moves I wanted to talk about. I want to save the Celtics one for last. But Kevon Looney signing with the Pelicans is an interesting move. That does open up space in the center position for someone on the Celtics. So I'll talk about him later. Brook Lopez to the Clippers is very interesting, actually. I thought the Lakers were going to go after him, which maybe they did, but he ended up signing with the Clippers. I like the move a lot for the Clippers. Ivica Zubac had an awesome season last year. I forgot who the backup center was. Oh yeah, it was Ben Simmons actually. So now Zubac has a backup center now, and they haven't had a good backup center in years. It was it Montrezl Harrell, or was he like? Yeah, it was Montrezl Harrell was like their 6th man. And he was good in the regular season, but awful in the playoffs. And since then, it's been Marcus Morris. It's been, I wrote an article back when they traded for Mason Plumlee, but it's been Marcus Morris and like a couple of others being stretch 5s. But now they have an actual center who can take some of the pressure off Ivica Zubac. So the Clippers played really well against the Nuggets last year. I shouldn't say played really well. They actually didn't play great at all, actually. But they pushed the Nuggets to 7 games. I do think they were the better team than the Nuggets, but the James Harden was in Game 7. But the Clippers have a good team next year. They were good this year, but I don't know how it's going to work this year with James Harden in his second year in his second full season with another team. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard will be there, but hopefully healthy. That's far from a guarantee. But their starting 5 their best 5 of Harden, Kawhi. Is Norm Powell back? I don't even know if he is or not. Zubac. Maybe even having some lineups of double bigs with Lopez and Zubac. And that's a really good defensive duo. Who knows? Breaking news. Not really that breaking news, but like that's the immediate news. Sandro Mam Ukelasvi has agreed to a 2-year, $5.5 million deal. So that's essentially the vet minimum with the Raptors. So far from breaking news, actually, but I did get the notification from Shams. So that is NBA news, but immediate news that I just wanted to break. But yeah, I was hoping for much bigger news to break on this podcast. But anything else? Just a Shams follow up? Yeah, Shams follow up. Okay, so yeah, like I'm excited for the Clippers too. I don't like they're gonna be worse next year than this year, but they're gonna be a fun team to watch as well. I also just like watching basketball, so everything's gonna be fun for me to watch. That now that I'm saying that out loud, but Karis LeVert's the Pistons, that'll be fun. The Pistons, Malik Beasley, man. I don't know what's gonna go on with him, but hopefully hopefully he's innocent. Yeah, innocent proven guilty at the end of the day. One thing, most of the ones I wanted to talk about. Oh, the Hawks. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard signed with the Hawks. They also made a couple of trades to. They don't have a single player under 6'4" outside of Trae Young, which is the perfect way to build around Trae Young. I'm not a fan of Trae Young. I think he could still be targeted on defense a ton, but if you want to maximize your team around Trae Young, just get a bunch of long wings and guys who can shoot. Luke Kennard is one of the best shooters in the league. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a super solid perimeter defender. They have Porzingis who could stretch the floor and can defend the rim really well. They have Jalen Johnson, who's an all-star-esque player before getting injured. Dyson Daniels, who I think was a top 3, maybe even top 2 defensive player of the year candidate. The Hawks are a very good team next year. I don't know if they're going to be threats to win. I don't know if they're going to be threats to win the East. I would still take the Cavs and the Knicks over them, but they're like a weird team. Like as far as it goes forward, it's like weird in the sense of like how do teams make adjustments for them? I don't know. Because obviously they have like the teams that are long and just annoying to play against. Those are the fun teams. Those are like the teams that are the hardest to like make adjustments for. Like it was kind of like the Bucks in 2017. Most people won't watching this probably won't be like, what the hell was that team about? Wait, not 2017, 2018. Where they had Giannis, they had Brooke, they had I'm blanking out of some of those players, but like they had Blake Snell, not Blake, Jesus Christ, Blake Snell's a pitcher, Tony Snell. They had just some long guys who were just annoying. They had Eric Bledsoe, again, long point guard, just like long players. Trae Young is still going to be a guy targeted on defense, which will be an issue for them and will always be an issue for them. But when you have good defenders outside of him, it gets hard to target him because then they can get help defense. So, I think that only the Cavs and the Knicks are guaranteed better than them next year. Which even then, if one of those guys gets an injuries, then maybe they can climb up in the standings. But I'm probably going to rank them in my top 4 because they have a really, really annoying team next year. So good for the Hawks. Outside of that, shout out Jordan Clarkson signing with the Knicks. Gershon Yabusele to the Knicks as well. That's a very interesting move as well. Brought up the Kings trading Jonas to the Nuggets. Oh, SGA signed a mega extension, 4 years, $285 million. That's over $70 million per year. You sign your star player, however amount it is, especially when he wins MVP, when he wins conference finals and finals MVP, the best player on your team to win 68 games. You pay that guy everything. But this contract is going to bite them in the ass once they have to pay up either J-Dub or Chet, depending on if either of them win an award. I think J-Dub made third-team All-NBA. If Chet wins DPOY, if either of them make second-team All-NBA or even first-team All-NBA down the line, the Thunder are going to have to pay, and that's why it's very important to get that one ring when you can. The Celtics learned that, so shout out to the Thunder for getting their ring. And they'll still be great for the next 2 years, but after the next 2 years, they're going to be paying a lot of guys, and quite unfortunate for the Thunder. But that's what happens in this new CBA, which stinks. Well, it took me 40 minutes to touch on how much the CBA stinks, but that's what happens. And the last 2 contracts, so the last contract and last free agent I want to talk about is Luke Kornet and Al Horford. Luke Kornet signs a 4-year, $41 million deal with the Spurs, and will serve probably as the backup center to Victor Wembanyama. I'm gonna miss Luke Kornet. He was a he was the perfect role player. He played, um, 2 years ago, he was like the perfect third center, back up to Porzingis and Horford, and then last year when Porzingis was out for most of the year, and even when Porzingis was playing bad in the playoffs, he was the great backup center and eventually starting center, in the elimination game against the Knicks, and at 7 blocks, it was one of the best games I've ever watched him play. I'm gonna miss Luke Cornett a ton. He is not only just a great, not only is he a very good basketball player, he's the perfect locker room guy as well. And I think that Jason Tatum's gonna miss him a ton. I think that Jaylen Brown's gonna miss him a ton as well. And I think that the fans are gonna miss him a ton as well. All the Celtics reporters, including Noah Dalzell, Jack Simone, and Sam LaFrance, everyone, three friends of the pod, they all love Luke Cornett, and they're definitely gonna miss him, and I'm gonna miss watching him play as well. So shout out to Luke Cornett. Okay, so the last guy I'm going to talk about is Al Horford. Al Horford has yet to sign with anyone yet, but reports are coming out that he is likely going to sign. I have his regular jersey behind me, and you know what? What the hell? I'm actually gonna give me 20 seconds, guys. I'm gonna pull out my frame jersey from which I was never able to hang up back there. So give me 2 seconds. I just got to pull it up right now. So give me 1 second, guys. Very poor podcasting, by the way, that I didn't have this right next to me, and you guys were silent for the last couple of seconds. But again, this is where a co-host would be good here. But Al Horford, if the next time we record a podcast, you're not going to be a Celtic anymore, I want to appreciate a thank you for every single thing you've done for the Celtics. You came here in 2016, I want to say, maybe was it 2017 actually, and immediately started contributing. You were a winner every single year you got here. I'm pretty sure that's every year outside of 2019 and 2025, the Celtics made the conference finals with you here. So not much, yeah. Like it's tough to put into words how much we Celtics fans appreciate you. Likely going to sign with Golden State, as we said, but however, part of me is hoping that the Horford's waiting to have the Celtics free up cap space, whether they trade Simons or Yang, and he could sign. They can give him more money, but like I think at the end of the day, I think he's just waiting for the final details to kick in for the Golden State contract. But I'll be very, very upset if you sign with the Knicks or the Lakers. But anyone else, I'm rooting for you. Probably won't root for you in Golden State, but everyone else, I think that team pretty safely becomes my second favorite team in the league. I was going to say the Nuggets, but the Nuggets did get their backup center in Valanciunas, but I'm trying to sign with the Nuggets. Even sign with the Nuggets, be that second or third center to Jokic and Valanciunas. I think you're a better player than Valanciunas. I know you're a better player than Valanciunas, actually. Anyone else outside of that? That would be pretty cool. The Cavs would be very cool. The maybe even the Mavs would be pretty cool, actually. I don't know how much money they have, but yeah, like I don't even know how much money all these teams have. But Al, we hope that you stay. We understand that if you don't want to stay though, because the money's pretty tight right now, and we're not going to be good next year. So the city of Boston loves you. I don't live in Boston, but I know for a fact that the city of Boston loves you. I know the Celtics fans love you, and like that's essentially what my campaign is that we hope that you come back. Next year will be tough, and you're getting older. The days are counting down. The year after that is going to make it worth it, though. Jason Tatum will be back. He'll love to play with you one more time. Jaylen Brown will love to play with you one more time. And who else? Peyton Pritchard. I believe. I don't think he was here when you. I don't think you were here when he was drafted, but he's still young and developing. Sam Hauser will probably still be here. Al, it's been a pleasure. Like, I don't want to say it's been a pleasure because it's not over yet, but we hope that you come back. But if not, best of luck. And we really, really hope that you stay. So it's not over yet. So like this isn't goodbye just yet. And even if it is goodbye, there's a chance that you come back. I don't think you were going to come back after 2020, after 2019 as well, but you ended up coming back. So I know that you're older now, but we'll see what happens. All right. Did he sign with anyone yet? No, he did not. So I'm going to sign off real quick before he signs with anyone, because I'm going to be very upset when he does sign with anyone, not the Celtics. Although, like I said, Brad, trade either Niang or Simons. Get something back for Simons if you're going to, but just dump Niang's contract and then get Horford to sign. Do that. So, okay. All right. I think that is it for the day. I was able to yap on for 45 minutes. I'm very impressed with myself when I do that. A lot of people can't go on podcast. A lot of people can't go on and yap for that long, but yeah, I'm very impressed with myself. So, all right. This has been another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. Check out my other content. We go live on Sunday nights. Me, Fluent, Jalen Carter, and Ori B from Hoop Social. We go live every Sunday at 10 p.m. Subscribe to @Sports Fluent to catch me every Thursday at 8 p.m. That won't be this week, but it will be in the weeks after that. Follow me on. Hang on, you know what? Actually, let me pull up my other logo behind me. Yeah. Shout out to my girlfriend for doing that one. I think, let me just see if there's another way for me to. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Follow me on all my social media platforms at All American Hooper. On Instagram on Instagram and TikTok, both spelled differently, and at American Hooper on Twitter. And check out my column on primetimesportstalk.com. I will be jotting out a winners and losers of the NBA free agency. So yeah, check out that content right there. But until then, also check out the Sports Fluent merch store. There is no All American Hooper stuff anymore, but there is some from Chilltown Hoops. Call your mother. Call your mother. Most of you are probably younger, so you already talk to your mother every day anyway. But for those of you who don't, call your mother. But again, this has been another episode of the All American Hoops podcast. Until then, keep grinding and stay open. Have a great day, everyone.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.